What we learned last week is that in order to find the slope of a graph at a single point, we estimate it using a rate of change formula, and that rate of change formula is the same thing that we used when we did the difference quotient. So we do f of x plus h minus f of x all over h. And then we make the h 0. So this part's the difference quotient, that's what that's called. But then we take it one step further and we find the limit of that graph as x approaches, or as h approaches, sorry. H approaches 0. So really, from there, we plug in 0 for h. And what we get left with, if it starts as a quadratic, which is what all these have started with, if it starts as a quadratic, is we get an equation that's in linear form. So y equals mx plus b. And that equation allows you to find the slope of any point along the curve, which is the second part of this. And to do that, we just take and plug in the x value. And then you get the slope at that specific point. So it's a multi-step process, okay, to get to the end. But the first step is the difference quotient. So I'm going to find f of x plus h minus f of x. So f of x plus h means I'm plugging x plus h into all the x values. There's only one x value this time, but if there was more x values, I'd plug them all in. So I'd get 2 times x plus h squared minus 3. And then I said you could expand and FOIL that out every time, but also it would be to your benefit to memorize the x plus h squared, which is x squared plus 2xh plus h squared, and then it's minus 3. So now I distribute 2x squared plus 4xh plus 2h squared minus 3. That is the f of x part of my difference quotient. Then I'm going to subtract my original f of x. So I could either go minus 2x squared minus 3, distribute my sign, and then combine like terms. Or we know that we need things to cancel with that. So the other option, subtracting, is the same thing as changing your signs and adding. So I can also take these terms, change the signs, and align them with the ones they're going to cancel with. So this is gone and this is gone. After that step, anything that didn't have an h should be gone. And this now takes the place of the numerator part of my difference quotient. So 4xh plus 2h squared. The last step of the difference quotient part is put it over h and then simplify. So these h's cancel and I get 4x plus 2h. That's the difference quotient. So now we find the limit of that function as h approaches 0. Using direct substitution, we literally take h and make it 0. And so I'd get 4x plus 2 times 0. And 4x is the equation I can use to find the slope at any given point on this curve. Now I want the specific point at negative 3, 4. The y does not matter. The x is what I take and plug in. So the slope at negative 2, 4 is 4 times negative 2, which is 8.
Wait, wouldn't it be negative 8?
Negative 8. Thanks, Matt. Yep.
So you only do like that whole process when it tells you exactly specifically which point?
No, you would do it either way. So sometimes it could just say find the equation to find the slope. And that would be that whole first process. You mean instead of doing the derivative part, or you mean?
Because the other one with the exponent?
Yeah, so that's just another way to find the derivative. Technically, finding the equation of the slope can also be found using the derivative. But specifically on your quiz, the question that is like this says use the limit process to find the slope. And then that one, it's multiple choice, so you'll find your slope, you'll hit your answer. But that's the one I'm going to locate on your answer sheet and look for the process in order for you to get the full credit.
Okay.
Can you use the derivative to also find this? Yes. It's just a different process. And that one's obviously easier, right? If we bump forward 2 times 2, if I take that to check it, which would be a good suggestion, right? If we're better at the product rule, 2 times 2 is 4, subtract the 1, x. And then this would be x to the 0, 0 times 3, that goes away. That also gives you the equation for slope. So if you wanted to use that to check your answer, or even do that first, so you know if you're doing it right, feel free. But for the work part of it, I'm gonna look for the work of the limit process, which is the long one. Yeah.
Oh, and then also another question.
Yeah.
So I know 4x is like the equation, but you don't need to put y equals.
Not really. Like, it is y equals 4x, but you don't really need that part of it. Yeah. And like, again, you can use the derivative. And this time, because you'll learn more about it in calc, but let's say it was like x to the third, you have to do the derivative twice to get it down to a linear equation. But that's like next year's problem. Yeah. Questions? Yep.
So on the exam, we're gonna have
On the quiz Wednesday. I haven't made your test yet, but quiz.
we have to do the limit process.
Yep.
When it asks for work.
Yep.
So it'll specify.
It'll say use the limit process to find the slope at the point, blah, blah, blah. Yep. There's only one like that, but yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The rest of them will just say find the derivative. You could do the long process if you'd like to. I would not recommend it, but you could, right? So this one I would use the product rule. So 2 multiplies by the 5. I get 10. X subtracts 1. So it's just to the x to the first power. This would be 1 times negative 4 is minus 4. Subtract the 1 and I'm at, I wrote subtract 0. And I'm at 1. Oh, I did right. And it'd be x to the 0, which is gone. And then we know every constant would go away because it would get multiplied by 0. So this is the derivative of my function, 10x minus 4. We're good on that? Okay, the next one, find the derivative. This time I got to bring the exponent to the top. By doing that, how do I do that? Good. 3x to the negative 2 minus 4x. And then negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. X, subtract the 1 to the negative third. This would be x to the first, multiply it, it's negative 4, subtract the 1, that goes to 0, and the variable's gone. And then we can't leave it like that. We move it back to the denominator. And that's the derivative. Questions? All right, so quiz is Wednesday. It is 11:1 to 11:3. It is 10 questions. It is multiple choice. I would say with work for the slope question. No calc. I'll save the calc questions for your test. Okay, test we'll do in parts. So what do you need for this? From 11:1, and I'm going to blend 11:1, 11:2 together because a lot of that stuff was together. From 11:1 and 11:2, you need to be able to find a limit from a graph using direct substitution. And simplifying, where there could be a radical that you got to get rid of, or a complex fraction, or you might have to factor. So you'll get given a picture of a graph and it'll say find the limit of the function as x approaches blank, and you're looking at your graph. You could get given an equation in which it says find the limit as x approaches something, and you can plug it in. Like, I would try direct substitution first. If it doesn't give you something that's undefined, that's the easiest route. But if it does give you something that's undefined, now you want to look for other methods. So if it's something that you could factor it, where you can cancel a term in the top and the bottom, that's one way to simplify it. The ones that had square roots, like you had something in your homework, like, I don't know, it was like square root y minus square root y minus 7 over y, and you couldn't plug into y, like it was as y approaches 0. And this is the case where we would multiply both by the opposite of what was there. This is a bad example because you can't use 0 at the end, but you get it. Like, it would be something different. And then complex fractions. where you had something like 1 over x plus 1 over x plus 2 over x, and you had to simplify by getting rid of those fractions. And then the factoring, which could be factor by grouping, difference of two squares, any kind of trinomial, that kind of stuff, all that factoring can get blended in together. So let's talk about when a limit does not exist from a graph. If I'm looking at a graph, how would I know if a limit does not exist?
Whenever it's like oscillating really fast.
Okay, an oscillating one. So if it's going like that, right around the part that I'm trying to find. When else?
When it's going straight up around the part.
Okay, so if there's like a vertical asymptote and my curve is unbounded.
Or when it's to two different ones.
Perfect. Or if it's approaching two different y's. So if I'm looking for the limit to happen wherever the asymptote is around the oscillating part or at the x value in which there are two different y's, all three of those cases are where my limit would not exist. Questions on those? Okay, and then 11.3 would be finding the slope using the limit process is what it's called. That's what the instructions will say. And this is your f of x plus h minus f of x all over h. The limit as h goes to 0. So we would find the function of f of x plus h, then we would subtract the f of x, put it all over h, and then make h 0. And this should end up being a linear equation. So a y equals mx plus b. You don't need the y equals, but that would be there. And then we would plug in the x value. So the first part's going to give you the equation to find the slope. The second part, where you actually have the x value, is where it wants the exact point. And the last thing is the derivative. And this you can use your power rule for. Questions on any of it? All right, your quiz review assignment is open. Let's get it downloaded. You